All right, everybody, this is Jace from the Comic Source coming to you live once again from the floor of San Diego Comic-Con. The returning creator, one of my favorite people, Phillip Sevy. We're going to talk a little Mad Cave. If you're not aware, he's got a series that's about to drop from Mad Cave. So tell everybody the elevator, the title first of all, and elevator pitch, and we'll get into a few details.
Yeah, so the book is called Don't Forget Your Briefcase. It's a 5-issue miniseries from Mad Cave. Issue 1 came out just the other week. Issue 2 dropped sometime in August. There was a little bit of a gap between 1 and 2. And yeah, I am the artist of it, and Eliot Rahal is drawing it. And yeah, it's a... genre-wise, it's like a dark comedy political thriller. It is about the service person who is the attaché to the president who carries around the nuclear codes in a briefcase called the nuclear football. And through a mishap and series of unfortunate events, swaps the briefcase with a 9-year-old, only to realize later the briefcase got swapped, so now has to track it down to prevent an escalating nuclear war happening.
And Eliot's just brilliant. Is this your first time working with him?
Yeah, it's funny. I've known Eliot for probably 10, 15 years at this point. One of my really good friends. But this is the first time we've actually worked on a project together. So we've been working on this book for about 2.5 years now. So it is all pretty much done. All the art's done. The writing's done. We are just finishing up some of the final production stuff right now. But Mad Cave was great and patient to let us get it all done before they announced and solicited the book.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, right? Because this is a story. When I first heard about it, you're doing it, Eliot's doing it. I'm like, oh, this is going to be fantastic. It can go in so many different directions.
It can, yeah.
You know, with a 9-year-old, so I'm like, is it Goonies? or you know, but it's political. Can we get into the thriller stuff? Is it a balance? Like, what's your take on it, having obviously come in to do the visuals?
Yeah, this is something Eliot and I discussed a lot. And he had a very specific vision about kind of the tone of the book. And he compared it a lot to Dr. Strangelove. Okay. Where everyone in the series takes things very seriously, and the book doesn't necessarily play things for silly laughs. It's more about the absurdities of the situations, like the fact that literally we have to walk around with, you know, the codes to blow up the world at all times, the hubris that we have as a country and leadership, and kind of just the sheer absurdity of, like, at any point someone could blow the world up because of what we have to carry around in a briefcase.
So in a way, kind of farcical, is that?
Very much, yeah. That's a really good way to put it, yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So when you guys were talking about this, and then he brings you in, and considering that tone, how much back and forth on visuals, world building, kind of character design?
I think early on, it took a little bit of work to strike the right tone. Because, I mean, you know, as pitches do, they start with one thing, and as they come together, evolve. And I think some of the tone evolved from when I came on to when we finally, like, locked down the script and started drawing. So some of our early designs, the characters were very different. Some of my initial ideas for the comedy of it were a little too big for the book. So it took us a little bit to workshop and get it down. But then once I kind of figured out, like, oh, this is the lane that works for the book, and now I can kind of, like, lock into this and go forward from there.
Well, one of the things I love about you and what you do, you're a true cartoonist.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, your visuals are always fantastic. You know, from the first time I've seen them. But you write your own stuff as well. So sometimes you're working with a writer, or scripter, in this case Eliot. Other times you're doing things kind of on your own. So is that an easy shift for you, or are there sometimes you're like, well, I wouldn't necessarily write this scene this way, or that kind of thing? Are you able to kind of separate?
That's a really good question. I think early on in comics, some of my first couple gigs, obviously I was working with writers, but I'd also been writing my own stuff for a long time, and it took a little bit of effort to figure out how to shift into the role that they need me in that book. So nowadays, when I start on a project, if I'm working with a writer or any other collaborator, I try to be like, what do you like? How do you prefer this relationship to go? You know, do you want lots of back and forth? Do you want ideas, or is it best you just hand me the script and I'll go from there and you work on the next script? Like, I've worked with writers across the spectrum who do all different stuff. And basically, I just try to figure out, like, how can I best execute the script that you have? And then from there, we can figure out, okay, that is this type of relationship or that type. And there's no right answer, there's no wrong answer, as long as both of us are working together to make kind of the best product possible.
So specifically for this project, like, how was the collaboration with Eliot?
I think part of it was getting on the same page, because Eliot, like I said, Eliot's a genius, and he's brilliant, and he's this crazy imagination. So I was trying to figure out, like, all right, I want to make sure there's a lot of subtlety in what he's doing in this book. So figuring out, like, am I getting this right? Or I was asking him lots of with questions the whole way through, and I probably drove him crazy. I hope it didn't feel like I was questioning him constantly. It was more so me just. It was more so me just trying to get the right idea and make sure I'm executing it well. And I think approach-wise, I kind of took the book fairly serious in my art. And because there's a farce to it, because there's a dark humor to it, I was able to be a little more expressive and cartoony than some of my Marvel stuff. But I wasn't drawing it like I was like, this is a silly comedy book. I was drawing it pretty straightforward, serious, and I think that kind of matched what we were looking for and kind of helped me get into a groove.
Now, I've heard artists, I've heard this from fans as well. Fans from their perspective of, one artist draws this younger character and they look like they're 7. Then the very next month it's a different artist and now they look like they're 13.
Yeah.
Do you find that to be a challenge drawing this kind of 9-year-old kind of young age?
Yeah, kids are really difficult to draw because proportionally they are so different from adults. And I think that, from the time I've been reading comics as a kid, you'll notice when you get an artist who I'm like, you just drew a small person, a small adult, you didn't draw a child.
Yeah.
So trying to be like, I would have to, sometimes drawing our 9-year-old character Elmo, I would draw him and I'd be like, nope, he's an adult, let me shift the face lower down on the head, let me make the head a little bit wider, let me tweak proportions. And I don't know, I guess people who read the book will have to see whether they feel it was successful or not, but it was a fun challenge to try and kind of keep that consistency and making sure he looked in that range.
Well, like Phillip said, everybody, first issue's already out. Look for the second issue next month. Yep. And then as far as people that want to follow your work, because you got a ton of other stuff going on.
Yeah.
Best place, active online, social media, that kind of thing.
Yeah, Instagram is one of the good ones. I'm just at Phillip Sevy Comic Art. And then on Blue Sky, I'm at Phillip Sevy. And that's pretty much where I'm at these days. I always joke that my dream is to be Brian K. Vaughan famous. In that for years he had no social media and all his books sold well.
Yeah.
And it helps that he's the best damn writer in comics. But if I can get to that point where I don't have to do social media, that would be amazing.
Oh yeah, I think we were all better off back then. But I'll put links to the social media in the show notes, everybody. So if you're having trouble finding Phillip, just go there and definitely check out the book.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, thanks, Phillip.
No problem.